장만 더. Okay. Now we will see the prayer on page number 10. On page number 10, we will say in Tibetan 2 times, and afterward we will say English 1 time. In English, on page number 11, I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. From now until my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness as causeless. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and causeless. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, feel bias, attachment, and anger. This ground, anointed with perfume, strewn with flower, Mount Meru, encircled by the 4 continents, surmounted by the sun and the moon. I visualize this Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy the pure land. Idam Guru Rana Mendala Game Adaya Me. 다리 눈이 나오죠.
Ya kiko tani matri nga tari chukton thamma damji te gom jaga te change.
Good morning to you all. Thank you for joining me again on the cyberspace for today's discussion. And we're going to start today's practice recitation of Aryankara. We're going to recite for our 1,000 time, and as we did it before. And so while you are reciting the mantra mentally, and meditate on the vivid image of Aryatara.
Tene molum jaga zo tat sinjin dewa tong tat kompat nayem tumewa. Yokom chaka te change.
Of course, just a reminder that we needed to generate the pure motivation, and the pure motivation, or the correct motivation, and here is that we aimed and then to well-being and for all sentient beings, in particular, and those who are suffered due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Dore dona tamje derma so yege jana rando omo dare dore so ha om dare dore so ha om dare dore so ha om dare dore so Om dare dare so ha om dare dare so ha om dare dare so ha om dare dare so Om dare dare so ha om dare dare so ha Om dare so ha Om dare so Om dare so ha Om dare so ha Om dare so ha Om dare so Om dare so ha Om dare so ha Om dare so ha Om dare so Om dare so ha Om dare so ha Om dare so Om dare
다래도 다래들에서 와 진짜
네,
나빠지네
뭐지?
완전히
뭐지?
안들이 로리는 마음으로 다들 정화하면서
개와디에
일단
뉴스도
당신은 전로만을 전낸 로바지 장마레와 대사하고 벌쇼 하는 거지 쓰랬던 것 같아. 근데 뭐가 있지? 그래. 맞죠?
Namanya perci de de doa.
너도
딩딩.
어이 딱 가서 몬트 TV 시켰더니나.
Ibu perci.
전직 제목을 놓으신데요.
Mari.
멍트 셰피 지식이 시위랑돈 셰파당 특히 장은 전돈 잡아라 너희진이 카퍼티즈네 다때 염선스 장하라 대시당 때터 라퍼 산나랑 지우는 랑진진 니와 탐지진 종콩당 전 진진리 연든 탐지진 종콩의 벌 통리 돈샤 일 샘진 퐁상 드바 예트 오이 나바전도 로키데 데나 랑진진 전 야원도르의 로니 고사 호지숑 숑기 워드 바버셰테 다진 지비츠 노디 조선도 오다데레 키트 지금 로즈라들이 이때 이제 많이 리스트한 동접들이 많은 못한 거고
So please go to your copy of the translation on page 58 to the end. We're going to read what the exalted Shanchadeva has said. The exalted Shanchadeva has concisely stated the advantage of being concerned about others and the faults of selfishness. What need is there to say more? The childish work for their own benefits. The Buddhas work for the welfare of others. Just look at the differences between them. Think about this deeply. We should see that all faults arise from selfishness, whereas all good qualities come from benevolence toward others. This means that we should be concerned about sentient beings, should be fond of them, and think of them with affection. Therefore, we should keep up our effort until our thoughts of concern for ourselves and neglect of others have changed places. This concludes my brief account of how to exchange self and other.
다 같은 것만이 마셰셰는 노르디나 다데시 올라가죠. 당가랑도 저 랑든 상근데 같이나 가즈니 조좀 될라테니 니즈네 지 니사텔라 차파지 미니샤텔라 당와치 때네 차단 여러 차단 이게 지네네 다닝 파르마성 그 차버시니 다 데레 지네 마텔레 상네 코로아 코르지 단다워드 네데요레 선지 좀 된데가 네 랑 지오른 좀 받은 도르시네 전 지오른 좀 로또 곰진 냥지 당 샴냥지 샹치 샘라 소파텐데고 니 셰르기에니 또 곰정조 아니 심지 탐지게 돈도 빼깔리 잡네 아니 리솔롱줄로서 벌레 당네 아니 다른 원버도 벌 상기에레 대사 아니 딱히 저기 뭐 예시와로 키망보도 경우도 셰고에 만두와 다 상기 좀 된데 아니 당봉 아주 도망 아주 정말 직발에 다른 그런 게 깔리 잡지니 샘진 그 돈저랑 더진 냠버 지니 아니 깔리 잡니 원버도 벌 상기니 단다 제가 나치 등을 용서 자와레 나도 단다 도만 바는 가 당고 지 바다 나도 단다네 랑도 삼삼 단다 못네 되지니 코라 코리원 로를 특히라 코르게데 요레스 어때인사다네 띵이 카버티즈네 타피전도 셰바랑도 시와랑도 셰바 띵이 카버티다 아니 카버 망고시키 망고시고 고문도와 다 통되긴도와 진짜 데스다 조지치 먹을 칠들에 다 Terter lakpar samni ta chon chimu tedi tsikti ranjin rangani jewon zbe nyemgi ta jewon zbe payun de lakpar samne ne dagji nyam jigores dag chapte jen 남지 단당 알아도 같이나 소소랑이 그 돈도 직삼니 다 성녀로 소소랑이 그 돈도 젠가 지 리솔롱솔로 소바 레 땅니 바 누구나 지야가 지장지고 때 많이 바다다다 젠지로 zmeorso 젠기 돈도 소소랑이 그 리노 리동소 동자 바 땅거나 땅 터와 텐디가 삼로지 땅 탑군게 텐디지 땅 터와나 다 다진 냠지 신이 로트 gelaki 용거를 뜻이나 근데 다 전화 전도시 비고 차이나 다 분수 속바 용거래 또 노도 시고 뜻이고
So obviously Shantideva is right straight. He wanted to write straight ahead and cut through the heart of the matter of the issue. That is like he pointed out, and he said, you know, I don't need to say any more. There's no any need to elaborate on this. The thing is, look at how the difference between the childish, meaning that those who focus once on individual interest, and the childish, here he says, and the Buddha, and the differences between those two. And we need to think about this, try to get a very deep sense of understanding. And indeed, when you look and think about what the exalted Shantideva says here, it is truly he revealed some kind of ugly truth here. It is true that what do we do, ordinary individual person, as an ordinary individual person, what do we do is that we always doing this constantly three things. One is that when we feel someone or recognize someone and or label someone as our beloved one, a family, a friend, and then we just have lots of attachment to them, and you can say it's love, right? Basically, it's an attachment for them. It's just kind of automatically taking place, and then if anyone who is opposed or against or cause any sort of trouble, it make us feel and frustrated and being challenged, and then we immediately will label them as enemy or someone who is not is kind of offset from friends, or it's become an object of to and against and to be angry or hate about. So, and then in between, and the vast majority there, because there's no really kind of we gain no benefits from them. Also, have no any direct contact with them. Then we ignore them, right? We neglect them. That's our basic attitude and our day-to-day reality. And that's how we come to be like today in today's situation. So therefore, and the Shantideva is to ask us to do this comparison and with the childish and the outcomes of the childish people and of an individual person, what he have done, who he is, and what kind of life he or she is living. But they compare the Buddha, and so Buddha prior to his enlightenment, of course, Siddhartha Gautama. Siddhartha Gautama, and at one point, just like you and me, and we all, and the ordinary person, and he been troubled and suffered by this very negative quality, the selfishness. However, because Buddha engaged in the practice of kindness compassion, loving, and bodhicitta, the mind of awakening. So in order to achieve, he set up that goal, and in order to achieve that the perfect enlightenment, in many times and in many lifetimes, he sacrificed his physical body, giving his life, and all his belongings, wealth, and so many, and anything that he owned. And because of that, because of his practice and of this other cherishment, or the abandonment of selfishness, then Buddha turned himself, transformed himself from ordinary Siddhartha Gautama, or his previous life, an ordinary being, and become a perfect enlightened being. So our situation is similar, and so therefore, so we have to ask a question ourselves: why we are here? We are still doing this, and why we are remain the same? Because when you look at it from the reincarnation point of view, we has been this way, and so we've been in samsara for long and eons, but we are still here. Why? So the answer is that because we are here in the samsara, experience all kinds of samsaric dismay, is because we has been and doing the things that based upon the self-cherishment was being childish and selfish. So therefore, that's why we are here, and we're still the same being. So we need to think about this Shanti as a very clear and simple advice, and meditate on that. And then like towards the end of the author, he also say that when we think at this very carefully, and then we know that all the faults, right? We will realize that the faults of all the faults and the mistakes or the problems and of selfishness, and then at the same time we will see the great and the inconceivable and the benefits of the abandonment of the selfishness and all the other judgment. Then we can really we'll be able to make this what we call it to equalize and exchange oneself with others. And then we can really also, like Buddha, we can able to sacrifice our body and our life, and we can give or sacrifice whatever we own or we possess.
어떤 대롱들라 아니 다 다진 냠지 저도 다진 냠지 서서 아니 소소랑니 라페랑니 소소랑니 데드글라 페랑니 잔라 당보 냠바치 오다 니 도파당 전 성민도 그nga 만도 바당 전 성민도 바레 대영 삼동 아니 티지코텔라 오다 아니 랑리 전 지원 좀 바 랑리 전 망아당 아니 랑니 그 데치 탐전 전리 종화에 바티즈 전 탐지 같은 첨보 임바 양지 삼 그 삼노 당 티나가 선나 초라로 대용나 때네르비 근데 다당 전 지신이 다랑리 전 조니기 타번로 야 진로아 아따 소소랑 냠용라 때네 아니 전라 아니 선나가 초라르부터 왔던데 그다 정화지고 그랬더니 산 아니 대진이 야 로노 고니 배우서나 아니 참가다 야 러비 지금 당전지를 남성 전 삼노 당보 코르동 때리지 니와지 용고서라 땅에 디 바로 주도 롱시고지 결정 모이는 지금 롱시고지
So yes, today and of course I'm still talking about, and I'm going to talk more about this exchange, equalizing and exchange oneself with other. So we do this and by to think about, begin to first of all reflect upon your own self. Okay. So the way we're doing this is that we ask solve a very simple and genuine question, and the question is, what do I want? Right? Do I want to be happy? Right? And then you of course will get the honest answer. Yes, you wish to and you wanted to, and then so once you get that point very clear, very firm, and without any doubt, then you turn on, you shift your attention and focus the others, and then ask the same question: is that person, he or she or them, also just like me, wish to be happy and do not wish to be suffering? Okay? And your honest answer is you get it is yes, and they are just like me, wish for the same thing, and I've heard of the same negative things. So upon reach this point, right, and then you think, shift your make the third shift, and then look at so then make this kind of comparison of contrast and see, and so what is the true relationship between you and other, right? And see from the number, right, a mathematical point of view, look at you and then look at others, right? And you answer the honest conclusion you would do is that yeah, I'm just single one individual, but others are infinite, countless, right? And then you think about the whatever you have, right? You gain, you achieved, and you appreciated it, right? And how you get it here, right? So all those wonderful things and life experiences, all the things you depend upon, and or the services you use, and so the relationship between you and other at this point is again very clear that others, right? It's not you. It's because others and you are, and who you are, and the things you enjoy, you appreciate, right? You own it, and you achieved all this is other because of other. And then you think about so who is more important in terms of obtain the happiness and achieve your ultimate and the spiritual goal? And your honest answer, right, is yes, of course, because my practice, my the spiritual achievement, all of them are depend upon others. So once you made it to here, to this point, right, and then you can see that you will get the sense of it, right, and you probably even become some sort of very affectionate, strong and sense of altruism, and this altruism, so yes, that's the essence of it. So then you practice that altruism, right? And then so to enhance, reinforce, and to make a progress and deepening that sense of altruism, and we follow this and doing this step by step, right? And reach that altruism, the point of altruism, and then continue and meditate on that and practice it and apply and or implementing and this very altruism, and in all situations, and gradually, right? Gradually, you will get used to it, and you will see the actual power of it. And so now I like to share to make my point clear. I like to share a story, with you. It is a true story.
Don't te ko ni ngarang ro da te sem na pe on chora che song te ta ngi te ngoma da chi de tang shi yi no na te cha te sam dong na pen to chi mo de gang na ngoma chi la ni ta nang mi ni la ji ama ni la bo ge te ni yo cha pu de ni chpa shor ji ne pu chi de se cha re se ji ne ne ko zu long ba ti ge chim na ane zonka losum jigni de ne tamate sokto tang go se pasu mi se na sokto tang 근데가 룩스조스 소토동도 소토동인데 딱게를 타파자네 소토동네 띠 오고 돌 샹랭근데 갑자기 랭근데 코노도 낭미가 다 되게 사당노 되게 낭미가 샤자 같은 그 이거스 그진에다 솔렌도 랭고데 뜻지워스 근데 저한테 이제 똥 같이 농 봐서 그렇지 그니까 같이 농 봐서 근데 안에 답 사당노도 지도 사당노 다 송근도 종강 로스um 지금 로스um 타마데 다 소도 동안라 기초드 랩전에 아니 코조 미망보다 깨당는 미망보 요차라 소도 동고 소도 동네 그런 낭미가 파쇼스 이게 낭미 깨당네 아니 통살라다 소도 동고 들을스 대자다 디 카드데다 소도 동고 레나 코즈 덤지네 되네 올라 겨정네 게 타바제리 자정나다 낭미도 손에 디 오고 급적도 봐 있다나 대다 신도고서 다시 그러 게 타바제 대자다 디니마테 다 되게 부디 시손 디 낭미 아마타마 또 요차마레 근데 아마타 디다 급적도 봐 이거자 다 디촌도 다 비라 그 로진도 셀리네 당도 참아셰드네 아니 타마 아마타 급적도 랭도 가다 뭐 통리스 뭐다 버그다나 게 타바제 좀디 아마타 담 번에 잡아 돌송네 되게 다스면 교니 잡아 돌송네 단뭐 통네 뭐롱 셈나가 다 초라 치울lep서 다뭐다 뭐롱 배 버스네 로스음라 되게 능은 영아래 담 니다다 버티게 타바je 저 뜻사잖아 다뭐 못하는 니 등의 용거래 또 삼진에는 뭐 초라 시치 못지네 다 양지스그로 저들이 소소고 초라한테 배파배 자당 대비 양수도 뭐 무슨 초라했지니 근데 손에 다뭐 버틴 거가 레나고도 고타네 아니 이게 다 받을랑네 다 사코나 잠적식 등 다교 속도 동안 소터 동안 있으면 다미 소터 동안이 결혼하니 기땅땅이 버서빈 나머지 소터 동안가 넘바만 듣다 이낭이 결혼 아마 그 등을 통용으로 소등이 좀 zor라만 듣지 그래서 나랑 그 버스니 초라하다 못 가는 용거에서 능력이 아니 좋다면 대자는 그 아마티 농라테니 때문에 그 소도 당연히 그때니다 뭐 소도 당도 소타르다 왔다 소타르와 당에서 때니다 그 발소 남이 용도가 아마들 시작산이 백그런줄라 답에 마찬가지 못하니 아주 르트 용 근데 자체 당당 비공에 맞지 봐 자토레스 또 오인이 있으지래 주동때 같이 농박가 농지래 그 잡으러 간데 롱도 산지르기는 살아거리 보이기 좀 동무들이 로이 그래서 등아 무슨 돌아서 손대다 원좀 어떻지는 아주 때 잡을 저 용도들 샘나가 돌아 소소런 거 냠용라 때니 용어 적교 때 파멜라 카게 트와이나 때 판도 전부도 등이 땡기 있다 남지 땡기는 거지 그 대장이 주도 때 시작이었어
Well, the story, what I have learned is quite something, and I think I told this story, shared this story in one of the previous occasions. But anyway, the story is like this. First of all, and this story then taking place somewhere, and I don't know exactly. I don't remember exactly where, but it happened in a Muslim country, and so where there was a mother and who has a son, and basically it's two mothers, right? So one mother's son and it killed another mother's son, and because this killer's mother, the son of the mother, who kill others, mother son, and so therefore, according to the local law, he has to first serve 3 years in jail, and upon reach the full term, then he has to be executed, and so again, according to the law, he will be hang up. And also, according to the law, that at the day where he is being hung, and the areas and the villages will come and observe it. And then, as a part of the custom, and other family, the victim family member would come and to kick off or take away the bench or the stone and something that's underneath that pillars or movers feet. So then after 3 years, and this person, the killer who finished his term, and then the local government and called the villagers, everybody come in, and that's including the mothers, the killer, the mother, and also the mother of the victim. And then after the public and after the local authority announced the sentence, then they put a piece of black material cloth and covered the mother's head, and then let the victim's mother come and approach the mother and to kick off the bench or small table. That way, so they're going to complete the execution, the process of the execution. And what amazing is that the mother who come and just about to kick off the bench or the table, and he heard a screaming out of the crowd, and then absolutely become silent. And then she saw that the mother of the mother at that point is lost conscious, is passed out. And so upon see this, they lost the consciousness. So upon see this, and the mother of the victim and had a strong feeling about that mother of the mother, and she had this sort of a natural exchange of the self and with the other, and she switched the position, and she thought, well, this mother has been suffered for 3 years, and because while his son in the jail now, and she will continue to suffer because she's been losing his son here in this publicly, and upon that, she really become very, you can say, the compassionate, and so, but let's put it a simple way to say it's a feeling. He really recognize her feeling and the feeling of the exchange, the self with other, and she fully sort of integrated into that feeling and turned herself into that a great compassionate thought or loving, and then so instead of kick off the bench, and she removed the head, the cover, and head covering cloth, and then slapped on the face of the mother and said, "Now I'm going to set you free, and although you don't deserve this, but I see how much suffered your mother been, and your mother been suffered. So therefore, and I don't want your mother continue to be suffer. For this very reason, I'm going to set you free, let you go." And of course, that was very touching and a moving moment. And then the son and the mother and the relatives, and they come in and to this very compassionate and kind mother of the victim, and demonstrate or show their pay the highest respect, and thank her very much. And then, according to the story which I read, I guess initially was in English or other language, and translated in Tibetan. So my Tibetan translation says that at the end, these two families are becoming good friends, and so they living and side by side very harmoniously, even though, given the matter of fact, and they were absolutely enemy. The relation was very hostile. But because of this mother's and true altruism or the exchange and the self with other, her practice, so therefore, and you see this, I see the story and the Western story, how powerful, when we truly utilize our own and the feeling, and they truly become exchange oneself with a person who have the great compassion, able to exchange oneself with others.
뭐 소라 제주도 때다 뭐런 거 버신이 로 몽불라 등은 영화라 어때 소라가 그냥으로서 다 뭐런 거 보겠어잖아 뭐 다른 등은 영그래 되네 되게 다 당신 양 지압되지 이랬어 양용도.
So here to make the essence of this story clear, and I guess we may think of this way. So exchange of self with the other is essentially if we want to keep it as very simple, just say what if she changed it? What do we what if she changed it in this story? Is she changed her feeling, the feelings that attached to oneself, right? From attached to oneself and now switch completely to the others, right? Because her understanding, she was able to do that is because she reflected upon, she thought it through about the sufferings of the mother's mother who has experienced in the 3 years, and while her son served the 3 years term. Now, and at that right moment and point, and she has to observe and witness that her son is going to die, and so then this mother, the kind mother, who really reflect upon her own feeling and be based upon her understanding, genuine understanding of the mother's feeling. So therefore, and the simple, the matter of this essence is quite simple, and that is, so we really need to recognize that when we say the self, exchange yourself with others, indeed, we are exchanging. What we try to do is we need to try to exchange our feelings towards ourselves and with others.
Oh yeah. 다 전돈 돈이지 상습지 샘정위 승리라 니지. 다 전돈 돈이 위상 다 상습 샘 정말라 당봉 혼로 당 니지 네급기 냠는 당 지스 총회 네급기 냠는 노지 다 당보네 혼로 가르간로 공이진로 정월시 발라 가고 당보라 니지. 다 샴바 공부도 현지 공부니 고르지. 상습지 샘세든 아주 같은 엄마 당봉 보셔서 결정한데서 당보 선바 동용지 선배 동용군에 근데 다진 얌지진이 아니 전 대란 지원 좀 받기 원때 겨울시 발라 심지 탐지 등을리 토고 심지 탐지 등을리 토고 근데 삼삼로 등을 토르시 버시발라 다다 소소랑이라 등을 토 니와 강하면서 토한테 니지기 지울시 발라 아니 뭐 소지지 공부하고 있어요. 상습지 삼사야 되는 거 너만이든 당보 심지 탐지 등을리 전에 삼도 전화 삼비 삼로 때 자와데 덕샤 때 셰발라 당 니와 탐지 조배 르미 선지 주고뭐 토고 온데 삼비 삼로 뜬지라 선생고라 어 선생들 때 겨울시 발라 당보 안에 땅 원들로가 샴바탕 양지니 원들로고래 어떻게 거다.
Now let's move to our next the topic, and here and on page 59, it says, actually cultivating the awakening mind concerned with the interests of others. This has two sections. Taking the practice to heart in the context of an actual meditation session, and what to do after the meditation session. The first involves meditation on love, and then on compassion. And the meditation on love practice a combination of giving and taking. So what we're going to do is that we're going to learn that essentially, of course, our practice, the object of our objective is our object. The objective of our practice is the awakening mind. But to achieve this goal, and we needed to study what is the preliminary practice, what do you need to do to prepare yourself, to get yourself be fully prepared. So there is a set of practice that we needed to know, and that's technically being classified as or labeled as a preliminary practice. Then we needed to know the actual contents of the practice or the practice itself. And so how we do it, and we're going to learn it, but essentially just a quick review. We know that we have to start our practice of, there's a process again you need to know and to achieve the goal. That is at the very beginning, right? And theoretically, you understand the greater qualities, right? And the beauties of kindness and compassion, loving, and all those wonderful spiritual qualities, right? And then you're going to set up your spiritual goal that is awakening the mind, the perfect awakening mind. To do that, right? First of all, and you need to neutralize your mind, neutralize the state of your state of mental being. Right? So, what I mean by to neutralize the state of your mental being is that through the meditative technique, right, and uplift yourself to the state of a mind where you are truly free from the attachment to your beloved ones, and also truly free from the aversion or the negative feelings and aimed or turned to against others. So we needed to first reach this point, that's the equanimity, right, or neutral mind. Equanimity or neutral, the state of a neutral mind and a state of equanimity. And then we need to think about at that very state of equanimity, and then we need to reflect upon the actual bodhicitta. But before that, we have to know that bodhicitta has two aspects or contents of the two sets of quality, and marked by two unique qualities, and or two aspirations. Technically, they're called two aspirations. One is aspiration is that one attends the perfect enlightenment. Okay. To attain the perfect enlightenment, that's the first aspiration, and then second is to free all sentient beings from the sufferings. So to attain the perfect enlightenment, right, the first aspiration, and to serve or to save or to help others or free from the samsara, and then That's the second, another side of the aspiration. Once you do know that, right? First, we set your goal. Say, I want to
It's
attain
11
enlightenment.
o'clock.
That's your first aspiration. But then, you are not enlightened yet, right? And you want to help others, to save others. But you have to get there and get the power, get the skillful means, and get the spiritual qualities and all kinds of things, and which is required. So upon this, then you needed to to engage in the practice, and that leads you to achieve the perfect goal of awakening mind. So we're going to study and all this.
다 당보는 동는 뱀을 정시송대 롱리 롱줄 게자 전라 당위 고니 샴바 곰발라 토머 파윤삼나 도시 적기우리 저위 파윤은 다드는 마 파윤셜 롱로 당할세 당인지 여오리 시와 트트비 상당나 초바 넘버 박면 진예바 긴초 남라 디 땅초비 샴비심지 땅땅 처럼 폴스 어떠시겠다네 시งู여일 다 특기 상라 떡들 초바 셰발리 손음 체체월 송화당 야홀기 상 고발리경 상실기 참나 성기 응시 전부 육등기 감동기 야와 시샤와 되나 예롱 고발라 시비 대와 우진도 샘진 남경 대와 등 넘버 던노 대 로시와 약동도 참줄 창주주비 샹的타나 세kul답이 2점대 0.3점 탐질라 샴비 샘기나 아말리 소놈 체체드기니 강니기 참드니워 저다지미就是西下巴等但人正常话哩这种什么卡西当年纪的什么人为讲相当一种汤气的所能得到吃么不他们相不这话等得到的呢送话等일 대화등 내망와 뜨등 촌기 놀매바 매바 돈 톱경 총위직든 기결대 가된 로등 마지로 샴치 연든 제토피 시송대 샴바 요나 하미 샴샹 응긴대화등 야위장들 대 샴비 톱기 판버르잡비 송위 초트기를 제로즈 단데 컨그레스 샴바도 양지 샴바 검니 파윤데르다 상지진도 상타포데르라 다키트마 알로자라 되게 디프런 로디치데 시작고 동능 그때인데 시대
Yeah. Meditation of love. Practice a combination of giving and taking. We meditate on love by such a means as giving away our bodies, possessions, and merits to others. We should firstly understand the benefits to be gained through so doing. Then we will be fulfilled with a great eagerness to practice the actual technique for cultivating, activating love. The king of meditative stabilization sutra says, were we to make as many infinitely huge offerings as the millions and the billions of Rome in the universe, and were to offer them forever to the supreme beings, it would not compare with a fraction of the mind of love. So the Buddha has said that the merit created through love is far greater than that derived from constantly offering objects of great value to Buddha field across the far reaches of the universe. In the sutra on the adornment of Manjushri's Rome, it is said, in the northeastern direction, which is said to be adored by 1,000 realms of the universe of the extremely powerful awakened being, Mahishvara, every sentient being experience happiness like the bliss of the bhikshu who are absorbed in meditation on the cessations of suffering. Such a good conduct extends over thousands of millions of years. Yet, were one person in our world to generate love for all sentient beings for even as long as it takes to snap his fingers, the merits he produced would be far greater. So, what need is there to mention the value of abiding day and night in meditation on love? The precious Gallant says, even giving 300 delicacy 3 times every day to monks would not equal a part of the merit of even one moment of love. We will be loved by God and man, and they will also offer you protection. You will experience mental ecstasy and much happiness, and poison and weapons will do you no harm. You will effortlessly achieve your purpose and could be born in Brahma's realm. Even if you have not attained liberation, through love, the 8 spiritual qualities are gained.
Oh yeah. 단데 샴바곰나 식으로 샴바곰나 파인도 치몽고 송도 왔대 참아 이거 샴바곰나 다 정보를 샴바곰즈네 펜토말 때 샴바곰나 근데 파인요와 아니 되게 좋아로 피위치도 참아온데 정아인 식으로 대자다 안에 샴바 디거나 다 동는 니 빼머시위네 동는 니 빼머시세야 되네 동는 지당 거바로 간다지고 그러지네잖아 뒷땅가도 미 초이랑 랑가도 으트까지나 파츠 동낭런진이들이 내들 땅가도 랑징기 차도 대자당가도 뒤섬나가 까티나 삼로 땅에 야랑조 소소 으스 탈수 섬지 탐지가 강했다 능은 탐지 소소 바 서로 텐동 냠지 으파 당조 소소지 샴동형지라 소바 젠지라 쩐니 젠지라 샴동형지 대화동 샴바다 조 대화동 단나 삼바 대화동 송 냠베 근데 영스 섬동트나 다 동는 그 냠는지도 되지라 다 디연도 섬동마 토 쇼크 야랑하다 냠테니 아주 곰자로 소인 지미 우거트즈니 혼드 우거트 혼드 도고 우거트 혼드 조 당본데 연토네 카카네 예니야 타마슴 야랑 데니 이모 쇼카네 요니 야 타마슴 랑 데니 당고 니가니 야 타마슴 마 야텐 마 당치네 데니 셈발 홀로 제가 공공으로 진제 공구나 참고 공으로 지게 The Jina Kari the Tikatu de Sem de la Samlotang, Jamba Chama Jisona, Tipar Chadong la Sopi Sim Samama, Nyam Jini, Samloti de la Samlotang, the Sotigam, Sembatonion, Sembatonion Sosantani, so Samlong when they Gom Karianatella, Jake Gom Tavena, Yakoyor. It's a Dangazo, Namjit the woman on top the Yinia, Sheriff which had Sujala Sony Martin Sud. 시치기 또 따다 나든지 바다 데머지 발라서 벤지 바탐지 마리 바탐지 마 도송섬 타마섬 제니 당보 백근덕 탐지 그 차탐지 지와 다 산지 그 선탐지 타마 아니 베디 오착다지와 마음에서 근데 이니 야틀스도 아니 전지원지 베로도 소수gel야 기송섬 마 당스도 랑지원지 베로도 근덕 마 당보 당 니와들 산지 땅 타마들 디 박착당지와 마땅 들리지니 Thomas Sumji, that Tomatic Swan. That somebody tended to do. Now, when you can attend to meet them, you thought it is something. Don't take them with Lam Chopadona. Major Rui didn't drink a Mali Tata Dalam Batang, Dr. Decazan, looking the number Singilo, said Twitching or Tisam any ya tends to Simji Tamchi, Tambo, Tambo tends to Simji Tamchi, Lila Tembe energy, Sochupa, Masimba, Masanchupa, Tij, join the Dingatanchua Tamchi. 수야 태종냠 소수 렌당 섬냐 마당 로이 너가 내가 전화당 소수 기지 소는 당 레라 템비 사비 대화 탐치 전화 진지 전화 데키 당다 대화 당 넘버 송선데 당당부 되지 아니 니와텔라 양 야 텐스 지 리기 막거보니 다전 타마 특수능 실라 소비 링한 바사고 정도 띵은 레오 나면 등는 당지와 야 태송냠 어떤이 마당 수티 소수티 리 나라테는 소놈 삭비 틀란데 디 대화당 대화당 지와 전라진이 전기질라 데키 대화당 담버처 송선 타마텔라 텐드도 일라 이기 소수 셈당 마테 심진합주 일라테네 나섬 노섬라 소비 빅방한 바스고 좀 탐제 델라테네 대우 등을 지와 소수 바사 소수레 네 소수 이기 디 독성로도 아니 지금 셰럽당 양지 단 조실라서 받으러 어텔라 때는 기위석에 요 강에 받 파잔라진의 전기gel라 대화당 담버처 조 때전에 전 섬지 탐지는 리그섬도 대위 cap송 섬지네 된지 삼고 때때로 양 삼삼만 가서 섬도 당 안전당 가서 소속 연락할 때는 나한테 빵 타고 요 말가 세트 요로 때 섬지 탐지 능력 때 얘기를 건다 앞에 강을 심을 때가 근데 삼삼한테 골고들아 때때 세트가 직당하고도 리턴 요목은 득비 제어도 탐지 영 직당하고 파 딱던 전에서 랑진지 맞아버려 동부양라 파 thiên 송삼네 때네 가도 소미 나랑 있나 소 자위 겐다 야원 붙이 또 지외네 아마 가시고 묘를 뛰고네 아마도 탐지 특간이 당복걸리 오저티 소술리라테니 랑진 섬지 탐지 등근도 탐지 딱송 니와 등걸라테니 너라 포네 오저 마오 때리 너라 포네 넉거 섬지 탐지 이게 드드 랑진 탐지 드드 딱송 근데 타마데 홈데 샘라 파네 샘비기기에 지금 나선노선로 소비비버 탐지 딱송네 어떤지네 애니 링을 섬도 상마 도전 탐지 링을 섬 상마 차송 섬지 때니 지금 하러 때는 거를 들고 막 못 잠고요. 대사때 영지 곰토에나 약부 요래서 어떤 게 있죠. 레오시요. 양는 지는지나.
Here I'm going to explain or comment on the text at the same time, and then we're going to, while I'm elaborating on the text, and also I'd like to say I'm not merely just explain to you that the hidden meaning will make it the point more clear, but rather I'm also at the same time to kind of expressing my wish and or share my hope and my thoughts with you. And so with the hope that you can do the practice and as the text teaches us. So first of all, what we need to do is that we need to start with practice the loving kindness, compassion, right? And our goal, of course, the ultimate goal is that and to achieve the mind of enlightenment, the perfect awakened mind. And for that goal, we need to approach this ultimate spiritual goal, and so not only by the logical reasonings, but also rely on the scriptural authorities, and that's why we read the teachings or the commentaries written by Shantideva and Nagarjuna, and also the Buddha and the Sutra. So those are the spiritual, the knowledges or ideas and the inspirations that we can draw from the spiritual scripture and authority. And that's the one source. And then we need to apply our own intelligence and our own the sense or the understanding, and based upon our understanding of the reality. So let's begin do this. So first of all, we need to practice the giving, right, and taking the giving, right, as text says. So giving and taking involve with again, it's a very sophisticated and systematically and designed the stages of meditation. So that is, like I said, I'm hoping, and I'm not explaining only, but also hoping you do this as for your practice, if you genuinely really want to do something about it. So here's the thing. Suppose that you wake up in the morning, right? And so you prepare yourself ready for the meditation, for this the meditation of generating the bodhicitta or the awakening mind. So you place yourself properly, right? And you sit properly, and everything just as it is required. And then you begin, right, do what we call the 9 rooms of inhalation and exhalation. That's the physical sort of aspect of the practice. That's proper rational practice. So the way you're doing that is, first of all, you cover, right, and it sits, of course, everything is in place at this point, right? You did everything as required. Now you cover your the left nostril, right, with the left finger and the index finger, right, and press down, close it, and then you inhale it. Right? Before that, I actually needed to tell you that throughout the day, throughout the lifetime, and we always doing this. Our life is basically dependent upon the what you call the oxygen or air, right? Or wind, whatever. And so we do have this, right, taking the airs in and then naturally, right, exhalated, right? We do this, it's our normal, natural, right, and sort of automatic practice. We do that. But now we need to bring this very natural sort of physical life and exercise throughout the lifetime, every moment, into a spiritual practice, into the practice of generated bodhicitta. So the way that we do that is now we consciously, right, utilize this natural process of the life. So we covered our left nostril with the left finger, right, and the left hand, the index finger, and then we began to inhale, breathe in or inhaling. Now, generally, we do just this natural thing. There's nothing involved, no quality. There's no any particular meaning, right? Other than to survive. But here, in this particular session of the meditation, while you are on the cushion of your meditation, now the way you utilize it depends upon this oxygen or air and or wind, is that by take it or transform it into the spiritual practice, right? Now this is not not a simple air or the wind or the oxygen anymore. It is a spiritual quality. That is, so while inhaling, imagine, right, thinking of that you're going to take in all the sufferings of every single sentient being, that's as you can imagine, right, and in. So you get to take it in, and then you move to your index finger, and to cover the right nostril, and then you release or you're exhalating. So while you're exhalating, and so now because you're taking in all the sufferings, right, while you're breathing in, and now while you're exhalating, you think of generally in the field, I think that now you are giving all the love and kindness, compassion, and the qualities, especially the kindness. By the way, kindness is that you want to give, right? The very practice of kindness is you want to bring the joy, bring the happiness to others. That's the essence of the kindness. So as the act of the kindness, and while you are exhalating, you think of that you are now giving. You bring the joy, you give the joy to others. And you do this 3 times. And then you switch. Right? You switch that to, and so you covered your right and the nostril with the index finger of your right hand, and then you do the same thing, inhaling. While you're inhaling, and you inhale that all the great qualities and the enlightened qualities and the wisdom and of all enlightened beings, right? And so now then you switch off and cover your left nostril with the same index finger, and you exhalating. Here now you imagine when you're inhalating, you imagine that all the sufferings created by the ignorance, right? It's and you take it in, right? You take it in, and thereby everyone is free from the suffering and particularly the cause of the suffering. That's the ignorance. Now, when you switch move the index finger of the right hand and to cover the left nostril and exhalating, you imagine, you think of that you genuinely you feel now all the wisdoms, right, and realizations and the spiritual qualities of the Buddha and the enlightened beings. Now it's go through, right, the exhalation of your breath. Now reach out and spread or reach to all sentient being, right, and remove all the ignorance. So you do this 3 times. Now you move you do the 3rd round of this what we call the 9 rounds of exhalation or inhalation. Exhalation, inhalation is that now from both your nostrils, right, you breathe in and breathe out. Here, the visualization that you need to do is that you imagine that all the. By the way, while you're doing this, the inhalation, the exercise, you're taking in the causes of suffering, and that is ignorance and there's two forms of ignorance. We know that the ignorance of what we call it, the imputed, right, and the imputation, right, and the ignorance of the imputation or the wrong view, and as the result of philosophical imputation. So the view that is produced and because of the imputation and it is any view any wrong view that you hold, right, and you follow, and then that is the imputational, which is the imputation and the baseless. Right? So now you imagine that you are taking in the cause of suffering of the all sentient being. That's the ignorance, but ignorance at this point is particularly the wrong view that has been generated and as an imputation, right? And through the process of imputation, it's imputational. And then, also the causes of suffering, and that's ignorance. When you inhalating and imagine that you also taking in this the ignorance of what we call the innate grasping of self, or innate mistaking and perception of the self, right? So here both is one is the imputational, right, and one is the innate. So both the imputational and the innate ignorance is being taken in, right, and as an act of your kindness, you take in, and then you breathe out and exhalating, and then you give it all the wisdoms and the realizations that you have achieved, and or you can think of to all sentient beings, and whereupon, and they're all free from the sufferings. So now when you do this equal, right, meaning that breathing with both right and left nostril, and inhalating, and simultaneously. So here is the thing, and you think that I generally doing this. The Guru Puja, the text. So the teaches about how you transform and or exchange and your own qualities, right, and fortunes, and with others. You also genuinely, sincerely, and then in this state of meditation, by taking others' sufferings and misfortunes and onto you, uploaded onto yourself. And the way you're doing this is like this. So when you taking in, right, inhalating, right, with both your nostrils, and you might think about this when you're doing the first round, think that I'm taking all sentient beings, the sufferings of sentient beings at the physical body level, or related to his or her or their physical body. Right? And this bodily suffering is due to their respectively because of the negative of their karma. So now you take him in, right? Whatever the sufferings or levels of suffering, and any sentient being, and who bodily and physically engaging, and as the result of the physically negative karma that he or she or they they accumulated physically. So now you take in all the sufferings, physical sufferings of all sentient beings, and along with their karma, the negative karma that they accumulated. And then when you exhalating and think of and generally and genuinely feel now you whatever the enjoyment, the sense of good being, the sense of decency, sense of pleasurable, and the contentment what you experience, you genuinely feel now you are giving through the exhalation from both nostrils. You are giving away, you're offering, you're giving, okay, the pleasure which you experience in the bodily and with your physical body. So whatever the experience you can think of and with your physical body, that's considered to be pleasurable, nice, and great, and give it away, right? And follow the course of the exhalation. And then when you do the second round of inhalation, again, think of now you switch to think about all sentient being who is suffered and verbally, right? Verbally here means that accusation, right, and the criticism and judgmental comments and anything that's related to the verbal, right, the words and that causes the sentient beings who is suffering or scared of and feels unpleasant. And then now when you inhalating with your both nostrils, now you focus on, now you take in the sufferings and the sufferings of the all sentient being at a verbal level, right? Involved with the verbal and the negative comments they're being accumulated verbally. So you take both suffering and the causes of the suffering and verbally, and they accumulated verbally. You're taking in, and when you're exhalating, now you will think of all the fames and the press, right, and the appreciations, expressions of appreciations and the recognitions and so anything that's you can imagine that verbally makes anyone, just like yourself, makes anyone feels great, feels good and nice. And now you are giving through the follow the course of exhalation. And finally, when you're inhalating, right, imagine that all sentient beings, the mind, now the mind is the object of your focus. So you focus on the mind of all sentient beings. Think of how much pain and sufferings and fears and they have experienced mentally, right? And how heavy or how thinner the karmas and the accumulated cause this mental suffering with the mind. So you think of all the sufferings and conditions of suffering of all sentient beings. Now follow the course of the inhalation, right? You're taking in all the sufferings of any being who are experienced mentally. You get taking them into upload onto yourself and taking in. And then when you're exhalating, simply just think of feel, genuinely feel. Now all the mental enjoyment, right? Anything you feel so great and wonderful, and again feels a good sense of decency and well-being, right? And achievement. Anything mentally you feel so good and very pleasant and joyful, and you give all beings, and with that genuine feeling of right giving. And so talk to this, I mean, speak of this, I know, and sometimes you may have thoughts, and our thoughts occur in your head, say, wow, this is kind of crazy, because I already suffer a lot, and my hands are full, right? And I can handle barely my own problems. How come on top of that, I can invite more, upload it and more, onto my own self, and which is impossible and it's crazy. You might feel this way, and of course that's our natural and untrained mind's reaction, right? I'm here talking about this is part of the training of the mind, right? It is absolutely you can achieve this goal, but it takes the training. So, and also that ultimately, right? If you think very carefully, and especially when you reflect upon the ultimate, the theory and the views of regarding the ultimate nature of reality, right? And yourself as the individual person, that even now you think, oh my gosh, how can I do this? Because I I have way too much to handle. But at that very moment, if you take a quick look, right, quick moment of reflection, and just stop and pause and say, who am I, right? What I am talking about, me, what that me is, right? Who's scared of taking in others' suffering on the top of one's own, right? If you reflect that sense of I, right, and that image of you with the Madhyamika and view and Asanga Madhyamika view regarding the phenomena is devoid of, right, inherent existence. All phenomena is empty of or devoid of inherently existent, inherently or self or independently established entity or self. If you take this profound, right, and Madhyamika Prasangika's philosophical view, the wisdom, and then reflect on that scary I, or whoever you name it as me or I, will cause you feel, oh my gosh, I can't do that. Right? Just in that moment, you will find that it's quite a relief. It's quite a kind of opening up, because your I, the I who's scared of doing this and uploaded more in suffering, is actually the illusion, right? Is misperception of the self. It's not the self who understand the wisdom. And so therefore, I do this practice in general, and so what I do is in the morning and go through the 9 exercises of 9 realms of inhalation, exhalation, and practice, and then my primary the guru and spiritual teacher is His Holiness Dalai Lama, and of course, and then along with other my root gurus, and so then after I finish this 9 exercises of inhalation, exhalation, and so I'm going to the reflection on the practice of the Om Home, and so in the Om, and when I says recite in the Om, then I think of the all sentient beings at the physical sufferings, and then as I did, we talked about it before, and so then taking in the sufferings of their physical and whatever they experience physically, and then while I am exhalating and giving and all the joys and physical comfort and the pleasures and to all them, and as well as to do the verbal and the right and or after Om, then I do the giving all the taking all the sufferings of sentient being at a verbal level or verbally, and then as well as the causes, and then move to the third level, that's Om Home. So then I say the Home mantra Home, and then think of and try to feel the sufferings of the sentient being who are experienced mentally, and then taking in, and then give all the qualities and all the pleasures and the sense of achievement and positive the sense of being and all them I gave it to. So then I recited I meditate on the principal deity, and then recite the mantra. So that's what I generally do. I guess I forgot one point. So the misperception, right? Misperception, and that's as a result of imputation of philosophical discourse, right? And that's the one cause of the problem. And it says ignorance. And then another ignorance is innate ignorance, and regarding with respect to the this identity of self as inherently existent, right? That's the innate grasping self person. And also, Krishna said that the one is the propensity. Propensity. This is also including the propensity or the predisposition of and then those both imputational misperception, and also the genuine, the innate grasp itself of a person.
Oh yeah, that what is the
We have a few moments, and now if you have questions, please ask now. Oh yeah. All right. So maybe you need to think about it and the question maybe for next time. And so, assuming you have no questions, now how about we just go and say the prayers and the closing prayers.
Page number 80.
De ma son de zero yang jang de yang ji zi wei ji zong de dan bi ren ba kun song lam ji zhong ye ne zhe bi yan na ye shi xiao ge zhe zhen dong bei lang jie shi zhao zi wei zhang wei tang gui zhuo wei ye jie men ba sa shi ya wei tang ba ye rang zhen zhi xu ba ren chen chou hui ma jiu cha jiang yang ber zhi wei shou de yang ji chen bu yo ru zhou ba yi ha de sa wer xie ber shou si ji ya wei ma shong zhen de zhu shang chu lang ji zhen bei jiang tan du nan ji ye la hu de xiang ya wei za ba rang de zhong ji lang zang zhe bei ten zhen zhe xi xiang gai zhen se shi me dang me man ru gun de ya wei ga ba yi nan da lam dan zhe wer ma zhi zhi gang zi ta ba zhou la zhi jiu zhi ci zhen zhe la zuo ba de yi zi 的南街道的中西乡，西江左小跟桥边之。早为喇嘛仁波切，老孙格尔瓦米当时拉嘎真全部国内集中的歌颂的这萨的所上至三ço仁波切马基瓦的吉尔吉杰瓦娘巴梅巴公内公的佩尔兄公热热为国为上公的潘当的瓦马里中为你站着让但是讲做。下辈身体玩的单节去，家不把握这的人钱把当跟的容我这样的人的得到根基就是道路，给我的到他们知道的我的什么小辈叫我他们自己，我刚了做的我把的到人给为啥玩的。我就是了的，我儿子判的中的担保的生意，但是就他们这跟上的这跟老的这种生意担保到的一点就才是跟的叫我中高位，他做新年的是这边的，因为我被老上的，可就这样都不是嘛点儿就马上老被家里担保了，
可以那就是没得30年的酒坊。
出生比的来讲就你们的老陈的老，你们可能的老是你这搞的的老，工作是比较稀疏。
那个这个条当下，
对，到底能没得错？
他那了当下都不能的。
你告诉我是？
那5年当这个，你过了，你过了我就会当下，你连讲的。
他想说呗，他上次你们不是用的，说这个。
Roy, thank you very much. Have a great day. You should have best day.
老说那对不起啊，老说什么呀 ？Okay, thank you everybody. Yeah, see you next Sunday.
괜찮아.
Oh yeah.
이 잡혀야 될 가르치는 게 내가 요가 제가 뭐 제가